I'm about to show you something that may completely change the way you think about cholesterol, statins, and the fruit aisle at your grocery store, because there is a fruit that has been sitting quietly in American supermarkets for decades, a fruit your doctor almost certainly never mentioned. And according to clinical research, it may be capable of doing something most prescription heart drugs cannot do, something that has made parts of the pharmaceutical industry very uncomfortable. For more than 20 years, a clinical trial showing its effects has existed inside cardiovascular research journals, mostly unnoticed by the public. Meanwhile, millions of Americans kept receiving the same message at their doctor's office. Your cholesterol numbers look good. Keep taking your statin. But what if good numbers and don't mean what you think they mean? What if the real danger happening inside your arteries isn't even being measured? Inside your artery walls right now, there are 5 biological processes taking place that determine whether plaque grows, stabilizes, or begins to disappear. Most routine cardiology tests never measure them. Most patients never hear about them. And there is one simple mistake that millions of seniors make with this fruit that turns something powerful for the heart into something that can actually damage their arteries instead. By the end of this video, you're going to understand 3 things. First, why one specific fruit is the only natural substance ever shown in a clinical trial to physically shrink plaque inside human arteries. Second, why its biological effects work at levels that statins simply do not address. And third, why the way most people eat this fruit completely destroys the very compounds that make it powerful. But before I tell you what the fruit is, you need to hear about a man named Gerald, because Gerald's story explains why this matters. Gerald was 71 years old. He lived in Phoenix, Arizona. Every evening after dinner, he followed the same routine he had followed for almost a decade. Walk into the kitchen, turn on the light above the sink. Reach for the small ceramic dish sitting beside the faucet. Inside that dish, 1 pill. His statin. Gerald had taken that pill every single night for 9 years. Never missed a dose. His wife Carol made sure of that. 2 weeks before the prescription ran out, she would already have the refill ready. The medication was part of their routine, just like brushing their teeth, just like locking the door before bed. And every time Gerald went to his cardiologist, he heard the same reassuring words. Your numbers look excellent. LDL cholesterol, 98 total cholesterol, 172. His doctor smiled every appointment. You're doing everything right. Gerald believed him. He walked every morning. He watched what he ate. He took his medication exactly as prescribed. For 9 years. Then one Tuesday afternoon in March, everything changed. Gerald had driven to his routine cardiology appointment, parked in the same spot, checked in with the same receptionist he'd known for 6 years, sat in the waiting room. 11 minutes. He brought a paperback book with him. He never opened it, because he wasn't worried. Why would he be? His numbers were excellent. Inside the exam room, his cardiologist pulled up the imaging results on the screen, and something felt different, not dramatic. Just a pause, a slightly longer silence than usual. Then the doctor said something Gerald had never expected to hear. Your plaque has grown. Not dramatically, but enough to measure, enough to see clearly on the imaging. His carotid artery, the vessel carrying blood to his brain, was thicker than it had been 2 years ago, thicker than 5 years ago, despite 9 years of perfect cholesterol numbers. Gerald sat quietly for a moment. Then he asked the question that changed everything. If my numbers are that good, why is the plaque still growing? His cardiologist paused again. Not the pause of someone who doesn't know the answer, the pause of someone deciding how honest to be. Finally, he said, because lowering the number is not the same thing as stopping the process. Gerald drove home that day in silence. When he walked into the kitchen, Carol was standing at the counter. He told her what the doctor had said, word for word. She listened carefully. Then she reached for the small ceramic dish beside the sink, the one that had held Gerald's statin pill every night for 9 years. She didn't throw it away. She simply moved it, from the center of the counter to the far corner. Then she said something simple. Maybe that doesn't need to be the center of everything anymore. What replaced it is what this video is about.